Okay. Can I see the? Okay, welcome everyone to the March 24th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting. This is our regular voting meeting. With me here in council chambers is Peter Rye. I am Wayne Beeler, the chairman of the commission. And online we have Commissioner James Harris and Commissioner Nelson DeLeon. And Commissioner Simfisi just joined us, so we do have a quorum, so we can get started. Do I hear a motion to accept the Planning Commission agenda as distributed? Okay, Peter, second. Nelson?
Second.
Okay, question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, very good. We have an agenda. We'll start with the approval of the previous meeting minutes that were distributed earlier. I did submit corrections. So they have been going over. Of course, commissioners can make minor corrections at any time after their approval. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes for January 27th, 2026 meeting as edited with any future minor corrections?
I'll make
Move.
the motion.
Okay, James?
Second.
Okay. Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. And then do I hear a motion to approve the minutes for the February 24th, 2026 meeting as edited with any future minor corrections?
Yep.
So move.
Here.
Okay, Nelson? And I'll take Peter as the second. Okay, question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Okay, we have meeting minutes that can now be posted to the website. All right. Seeing that unless somebody's online for public comment. Was that Alan? I always get Alan and John mixed up.
He's on the agenda.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, then first we will go to the subdivision and land development plan reviews. The first one up is the Alvernia University Main Campus Pavilion minor land development plan, and I'll turn it over to Jerome for the update.
Yes, this plan was submitted. It is a plan that was approved by the Planning Commission on February 24th with conditions. So the applicant has prepared and submitted Stable?
The plan was tabled last month because we didn't have Berks County Planning Commission comments. We did receive them though.
So the plan was not approved, but the remaining comments, the applicant has submitted a revised preliminary/final plan, which has been reviewed by my office dated March 16th, 2026. These are the remaining issues that need to be resolved. The applicant has submitted the revised plan, which included the revised stormwater management plan, which has been submitted and has addressed our comments. The Public Works Department should verify the report itself and ensure that it is complete. The certificate of ownership and accuracy will need to be completed. The site involves improvements that may require a municipal improvements agreement and should require a stormwater management maintenance agreement. They have submitted all the other information that's required. So the only option is the type of agreements that are necessary.
And based on prior communications, I had prepared a stormwater improvements agreement, which basically allows for the development without an escrow and but responsibility for any inspection fees during construction, as well as a 10-year post-construction requirements, and certificate of occupancy shall not be issued until it's been approved. I have that in draft form. Upon your approval of the plan, I will circulate that to developer to complete and circle back.
Sir, anyone online?
Hi, this is Kevin Marmus with Benish online. Can you hear me?
Do you have any comments, Kevin?
Yeah, just a couple questions. The mentioned agreement, my question was, when would we get a copy of that approved draft, which I could then coordinate with Alvernia, getting that signed and back to the city for finalization?
I have a conflict that has me away from my computer all day tomorrow, but so I should have that out to you Thursday afternoon.
Great. Okay. Yeah, I'll look for that Thursday, and then I'll coordinate Alvernia getting a copy of that and ultimately executing it, and then I'll get that back to the city.
Kevin, we'll also need cost estimates for the stormwater management and erosion and sedimentation control measures.
Oh, okay. That's what I wasn't sure. I thought the last meeting it was decided that the cost estimates were not needed.
You're correct. I apologize.
Oh, that's all right. Yep, no worries. Yeah, because I think they were built in with the inspection fees into the agreement.
Okay. Does any of the commissioners have any comments on this project?
As a trustee, I'm not going to vote.
Okay.
But otherwise, I think it's a good plan.
Yeah, I do want to thank Alvernia for being so detailed on this plan, because for a relatively small building, there was a lot of detail to put on the plan and make sure that we understood where all the utilities are going in and all of that kind of stuff. So, very good. I think, is this plan ready for approval? Yeah, I figured so. All right. Do I hear a motion to grant minor land development plan approval for the Alvernia University Main Campus Pavilion, saldo number 2602-0002, subject to the applicant resolving all issues referenced within the review letter issued by Hawk Valley Associates dated March 16th, 2026.
So move.
Okay, Nelson, second? Okay,
I'll
I'll
second.
second that.
I'll second.
Okay, I'll take James. Okay, question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. And then do I hear a motion to have the chairman of the commission execute the stormwater improvements agreement when ready?
I can vote on that, I think.
Yeah.
So I both. Make the
Second.
motion.
Okay, Nelson? Whoops. Got a problem there. 401. There we go. Nelson, okay, question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, very good. Thank you very much to everyone at Alvernia for their work on this project. And as soon as the stormwater agreement is returned to the city, I should have no problem in coming down to City Hall and signing that.
Great. I want to thank everyone for their time. I did have two other things. I just wanted to point out that we did drop off signed and sealed plans at the city. And then I guess they wouldn't be released until the agreement is executed, correct? Released
is
for
correct.
recording? Okay. And then the other question I had was the zoning permit. When would we expect that to be issued?
I can send out the approval decision letter to them, and then they'll just make sure that everything on their end is okay, and they should be able to issue it
Once
Great.
the water agreement's received.
once we receive the agreements, yeah.
Okay. Thanks again, everyone.
Okay, thank you very much.
And just as a reminder, I'm sorry, the minutes need to reflect Commissioners Rye abstention and completion of a abstention memo. And if you need that, let me know.
I was gonna say that. Thank you.
All right, very good. We will then move on to the Eternity Youth Adult Daycare Center, formerly known as the Jet Set Restaurant, and I'll hand it over to Jerome for the update.
Okay, this plan was previously reviewed by the Planning Commission last month. This is a revised preliminary/final plan application. The project is involved with, it was the Jet Set Restaurant, and it would now be the Eternity Daycare Facilities. A lot of the conditions would be the same as in terms of parking and ingress and egress to the site. The development is located in the R3 district. They did obtain relief from the zoning hearing board. We had asked, if available, that the applicant should submit any updated architectural renderings, floor plans, or building elevations in order to demonstrate how the daycare facility will be used. As mentioned, there are 6 different sites or satellite areas that are going to be required for this project. Some of the sites are internal, which would support the daycare facilities, and then others would be then for off-street parking. The off-street parking would be completed through a lease agreement between BVR Recreation and Eternity Youth LLC. So that would have to be organized. The applicant had mentioned that there is the prospects of a future annexation plan for all the parcels, but that's not doable at this time. We had evaluated the curbs, sidewalks, and ramps, and felt that the curb ramps and sidewalks along South 9th Street were in good condition. The ones located along Peach Street either do not exist or they are in poor condition. So the Public Works would need to do an evaluation to determine what improvements are going to be necessary for a municipal improvements agreement. The proposed refuse area will need to be identified on the plan. The biggest comment probably we have at this point is the sanitary sewage disposal. The applicant has been in discussion with Public Works with regards to the sewer flows of the site, keeping in mind that they're going to initially occupy the site in terms of half capacity, 150 persons in the daycare with the 10 employees, and then eventually ramp it up to 300 persons requiring care, and with either 10 or more employees. We had recommended that the applicant consider for the planning module the 300, since they don't have to go through the procedures twice. The applicant is in conversation with Public Works, as I mentioned, and a planning module will more than likely be required. We had asked also for fire and rescue to review the plan or what's available for the plan. They probably will have more comments once the internal once the building permit is submitted. So this is just for external at this point. The Berks County Planning Commission has now issued the review dated March 9th. And there will be no municipal improvements involved with this project unless Public Works determines that curb, sidewalks, or ramps are necessary along Peach Street. So that concludes our review. It appears that further revisions will be necessary, and more than likely the planning module is going to be something that takes the longest in terms of time.
Don, do you have any comments?
I do not. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Yeah, usually we, before we would, since this is a preliminary final plan, before we put it up to a vote, we usually require the sewer module application to be at least submitted. Is there anything else with this plan?
No, that's the main thing that we will need.
There was a question on whether or not the Jet Set had ever gotten an HOP for the curb cut driveway that was along 9th Street. So I don't know if Dan has looked into that or found any more information.
We've run into this a few times, and if the applicant is assuming ownership of the property, they would have to have responsibility for that curb cut. They would at least go through the effort of obtaining information from PennDOT. If that does not exist, we've applied a note on the plan to state that the existing conditions were in place.
I think we'd also on PC put a note that says it's required, HOP is required.
So what does that mean? We would.
I think we had an example of it. Trying to think of the last one, but we had asked that a note be placed on the plan, which specifies that in accordance with the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code, that a highway occupancy permit is required, and then the applicant would then state that those are the existing conditions. They're there already.
It basically allows the commission to approve the plan, but put the burden on the applicant to obtain the PennDOT. To not delay plan approval, put the burden on the applicant to obtain the HOP.
I see.
All right. Is there anyone here online that represents this plan?
I'm here, Dan.
Oh, hi, Dan.
Why, as far as the PennDOT, they originally had a PennDOT permit for the 9th Street entrances. And they contacted PennDOT, and PennDOT would still, it had expired. And they hadn't constructed it to finish the permit out. So PennDOT said that they would honor the plan, but they'd have to refile. Their whole purpose is they don't want to impact 9th Street. They want to have all their entrances coming in off of Peach Street. So that's the way I laid everything out, that it could come in off of Peach Street, and that we would basically ignore 9th Street because we're not going to be using them. Now, if we need to put a note on the plan or something like that, we can. The other thing about the sewer module, I did an analysis on this, and this project, I got the data from RAWA, and they indicate that this since 2012 through the present, this thing has had varying amount of water every month. Basically 30 to 50,000 gallons a day. And that's where, or 30 to 50,000 gallons a month, which that brings us down to what I said in my analysis, that this could support 125 people, which on the first floor. And right now, the cost of doing the second floor is beyond their capabilities. So I would like to have us do an approval on the plan with them limited to 125 people, and let's get some meter readings on what actually is used. And if we need a module, we can use a module. But at 50,000, we can, the sewer systems would support the 125 people.
I will just say that they would still be limited to the first floor just based off of the zoning hearing board decision. Once they, if they do decide in the future at some point to expand to the second floor, they would need to go back to the zoning hearing board. And so then any additional planning modules could be addressed at that point.
That would be fair. I would think right now with their finances and everything, they're going to be, just to get the first floor ready. And then the second floor would have challenges putting elevators and different things like that in, which would be way beyond the scope of their abilities to finance something that at this time. So I think they just want to concentrate on the first floor. And if we have to if things are very successful and we need to expand to the second floor, then we can come back to do a sewage planning module, which we would need at that time, and re-up the zoning for the larger capacity.
I presume the zoning permit will be limited to the first floor, and there'll be a note this is any expansion, including would require further zoning and plan review, including planning module.
I could put that on the plan.
And also, I'm not comfortable without having the HOP MPC language on the plan unless you're going to block off 9th Street. I'm not comfortable just saying they're not going to use it.
I think they have it blocked off with gates now. We can block it off permanently because that was their goal, not to utilize 9th Street.
Yeah, I think if you can evidence on the plan that it's been closed and a note that should it ever be utilized, they have to obtain an HOP.
Yeah, there's gates at both locations, both on Peach and South 9th.
Okay, you can locate that. But I would still recommend the note.
Well, right, yeah, because, they could choose to open the gate.
Exactly.
Emily, is there limitations on the zoning hearing board's decision if they do occupy the second floor for the daycare, which brings them up to 300 persons?
So the zoning hearing board decision, it was only considering utilizing the first floor. Okay. So if they would if they decide to expand to the second floor, that would be a change that would necessitate further zoning hearing board relief.
Okay. So yeah, I think we should then have that all noted on the plan.
Mm-hmm.
This is a daycare facility, right? So we got to get 125 people in and out of that place every day, presumably, plus employees. Always, the same thing with the child care facility that we were talking about earlier. What's a pickup drop-off scenario? Is this?
Yeah, the pickup drop-off spot we worked out to come off Peach, and then even if there's vans or buses, they can accommodate that area to come in off of Peach and then back out of Peach if South 9th is blocked. There are 38 parking spaces. so that there will be plenty of room for pickup and drop-offs. But yeah, there are areas close by the doors to come in and out for the drop-offs without blocking Peach Street or South Ninth Street.
All right.
There's no guarantee, though, that everyone's going to abide by the rules.
Well, yeah, I guess in this scenario, they don't necessarily all come. They don't start at the same time or don't have to. I mean, it's a daycare, not a school, but still generally they're all coming presumably in the morning. Families are going to work and taking their adults that need care there to drop them off and picking them up.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be quite a bit of traffic for 25.
And I also think in the interim for the 100 up to the 125, well, they'll be able to see if it's working in terms of pickup and drop off locations.
Yeah.
And if the pickup and drop off locations now require through traffic, then the HOP should reflect that. So we could probably work that out better as time moves on.
I guess I would say, having the HOP and being able to enter in and exit else, in the alley or vice versa, that's almost easier than going in and backing out. But I guess the first phase here, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
The driveways we have there are wide enough for two-way. So you can get two-way traffic in and out coming in off of Peach Street. It's not that people are backing out onto Peach Street.
Yeah, they're 22 feet wide.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. Any comments? Don, do you have any comments on this one?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I forget if I asked you that question or not. Any comments from the commissioners? Okay, hearing none. Would you like to see the notes on the plan first, or?
We can have the notes put on the plan. We could check them to make sure, but would it be easier if we call this phase one?
I think either way, whichever you all think it would be easier.
If they're good, but the likelihood of them coming back with a plan is probably not likely since everything's in place. So maybe the phasing, calling it phase 1 and 2 wouldn't be, maybe on a note on the plan, calling phase 1, the 125 initial persons that are being cared for, and then phase 2 being the second floor, which would include up to 300.
Well, no, if they do end up with a phase 2, they're going to have to do the whole process over again. So they would have to submit a plan.
Okay.
They would have to go through ZHB and do all of that.
Yeah, based on that, I would.
So I think just we record it, and then, if in a couple of years they decide to do the phase 2 and they do all of that, it'll be a revised plan of record.
Okay.
Yeah, the commission could review it with authorizing Hawk Valley to approve it with the plan notes, approve it with the notes and the discussion, in accordance with the discussion and notes tonight. And then also, I think, regarding the agreement, if one is needed.
Mhm. Okay, very good. Anything else on this one? All right, do I hear a motion to grant preliminary final plan approval for the Eternity Daycare Facility Land Development Plan, saldo number 2602-0003, subject to the applicant resolving all issues referenced within the review letter issued by Hawk Valley Associates dated March 16th, 2026, and the placement of plan notes as discussed during this meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Peter? Got to find a place to. I'll write this down. Second? Okay, second? Everybody's asleep today.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Will. Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Thanks, Dan. If you can take care of those few notes and everything, we can get this one going.
Yeah, let me just talk with Michelle for a couple seconds. We want to note that the 9th Street entrances are to be blocked, and if they're ever to be used, will require a hop permit. Correct? And then expansion to the 2nd floor will require zoning, a revised land development plan, and a sewer module.
Yes.
Was there another one? Or did I miss something?
The only outstanding issue that I know is Public Works advising about if there's an improvements agreement for the sidewalks.
And Don's office would need to verify if the curb sidewalks and ramps along Peach would need to be further improved. The ones that are located along South 9th are in good condition.
Well, the ones along Peach Street are in pretty lousy shape, like Jerome said. So it looks like if we would replace the whole thing and patching it, driving through there now that the snow's gone, patching it doesn't seem like really, well, you might be able to save some of it, but for the most part, you'd have about 206 feet of curbing at $20 a foot would be $4,000. And you'd have about, the city plans only call for 2-foot sidewalk, but there's a 5-foot sidewalk in there. So replacing that would be about $5,000 for the sidewalk. So do we want to do an improvements agreement that as they're doing, they've got a lot of renovations in the building and they could work that sidewalk and curbing in.
I do have a
This will be
comment.
this will be a simple agreement.
Can you put that in a cost estimate and circulate it to Don and Jerome, and then I'll send you the sample, what we're referring to as a simple improvements agreement?
Yeah, that'll be great.
Would this just be a condition of approval, so nothing has to be worked out right now?
Correct.
Okay, thanks. And I was hearing the word patching. When it comes to sidewalks and curb patching, generally doesn't work for me. It should be replaced if it's not in good condition.
Well, that's what I said. We'd have about we'd have 1,000 square feet of sidewalk to be replaced. The thing is, the city plans only call for a 2-foot sidewalk, and there's 5 feet there. So we'd be replacing the whole 5 feet in kind. You're right. Patching, you might be able to cut it out and save some parts of curb, but I think it would be more effort than worth it.
I think we should have this verified by Public Works, just to make sure that the values are consistent with the way Dan's describing it.
Yeah, it's all good. Yep, we can work that out. I'm also a little surprised with a 2-foot sidewalk. Is that according to ordinance, or is that what's there?
That's what your city plans call for Peach Street. It's a 20-foot wide cartway with 2-foot sidewalks on both sides for a 24-foot street. I think that, let me open up my computer here.
Jerome, according to the code, do we have a minimum sidewalk width, like maybe 4 feet?
5 feet.
Okay, there you go.
I'm sorry. Peach Street is by ordinance 20 feet wide, and it's a 16-foot cartway. So that would leaves the 2-foot sidewalk on both sides, but there's basically 5 foot of sidewalk that I measured along the street there. So the sidewalk extends beyond the right of way.
Okay, we can work it out. but something to consider, maybe a 4-foot sidewalk on one side or.
Yeah, I think we'll need to look at that in person.
Sounds good.
So my question, Mr. Chairman, this is Will, is the reference to a possible municipal improvements agreement in the Hawk Valley letter, is that sufficient as a condition because we've already approved the plan now?
Yes.
Yes, it's number 18 on the,
Okay.
on the,
And then the second part is, do we now need to authorize you to sign an agreement?
that's a good question.
Yes, you have to sign it.
Yeah, okay. All right, then, let's do that now. Do I hear a motion to allow the chairman to execute a municipal improvements agreement for 118, 118 South 9th Street if required?
So move.
Okay, Nelson? And Peter second? Okay, question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, there we go.
When,
Okay, and
when can we get plans for signatures? Is that after we get agreements, or how are we going to work this out?
I would suggest putting the plan notes on while we work through the agreement. That way
Okay,
Jerome doing those.
okay. And are you taking electronic submission of signed plans, or are we bringing paper plans in that are signed for you to sign? How's that working now?
We're going to need 5 copies of signed and sealed plans to
Okay.
for your signature.
Okay,
And I'll send you the simple agreement in the interim.
okay.
okay.
Well, I'll get the notes on the plan and get that over to Jerome this week, and we can make sure that I got the right wording on that everybody's happy, and then we can keep moving ahead.
Okay, that sounds great, Dan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next up, we have the 601 Penn Street revised plan of record.
There's has asked that to be moved down to later in the day, and he has a conflict,
Oh, okay,
so he's asked that to be one of the last things discussed this evening.
okay, we can,
He'll communicate with you as he's available.
okay.
Turn the mic on.
We have a pretty long meeting, so it's, I'll be glad to move that down.
I'm sorry, I didn't have my mic on. The attorney representing 601 Penn has a conflict this evening and asked us to do that later to allow him to address his conflict.
Thank you.
Okay, the next up then, we have the minor land development plan for 108 Oley Street, and this is a new one, so I'll turn it over to Jerome.
Thank you. This plan was reviewed by my office on March 17th, 2026. This is the 108 Oley Street Minor Land Development Plan. This project is a revitalization project that is being redeveloped, and through the adaptive reuse provisions of our zoning ordinance, the lot itself is on a 3,941 square foot lot at 108 Oley Street. The first floor will be obtained by a undetermined commercial use at this time, and the second floor will be utilized as 4 residential apartment units on the second floor, and there's 3 existing off-street parking areas. The site for the redevelopment is in the R3 district. the zoning hearing board has approved a special exception to permit the adaptive reuse on this project. The applicant has also been granted zoning relief for the off-street parking areas in which, as I mentioned, there are only 3 parking spaces on the site and 5 will be necessary for the residential use and then plus the commercial use, which is undetermined at this point. It is our understanding that the commercial use on the first floor will need to be identified. And does the zoning hearing board need to see the proposed use that's been approved?
I believe they would have to go back for whatever they decide, dependent on the zoning office's review.
The area, yard, and height requirements need to be applied for the R3 zoning district. We had asked that also the entire site is basically covered by the building. So the areas for nonconformity should be identified on the plan itself. We had comments regarding the parking, as I mentioned. They will need to have off-site parking or satellite parking. And it's our understanding that they do have a location which they're going to park at. Whatever agreements are necessary then for the off-site agreements are going to need to be provided to the Planning and Zoning Office. Fire and Rescue would also need to review this plan to determine if the points of ingress and egress are satisfactory. The proposed development shall be served by sanitary sewage facilities. There will be an increase in sewer flows from the previous use. They'll have to consider wastewater projected flows for the undetermined commercial use plus the 4 residential. Moving on down, stormwater management will not be required for this site since the pre and post development conditions will be an offset because of the amount of impervious coverage. The Berks County Planning Commission will need to review the plan. And if municipal improvements are required, it would only apply to if curbs, sidewalks, or ramps are necessary for this project, but they appear to be in good condition. That's all I have.
We didn't receive the Berks County review yet.
It was submitted to the Berks County Planning Commission. They determined that their review was not required since everything is internal.
I also failed to mention that the 3 off-street parking spaces are located in a sub-level basis. They're not surface parking area. It's below the first floor.
Accessible from Oley Street or?
From Oley Street.
That's why there's garage doors in the front of the building.
Yes. I have not seen that.
Okay. Is there anyone here representing this project?
Yeah, Larry Grabowski with C2C Design Group.
Oh, okay. There you are.
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to unmute my phone. I don't have any comments or questions. More so just questions. For the fire review, do I need to submit plans to the fire department and also for the public works, or will they review it as part of our application submission?
That should be submitted to the fire marshal's office.
Okay. I mean, I'll coordinate with you offline to get that information if I don't have it.
Yep, no problem.
And what about the public works?
For planning modules?
No, public works just for review of the plans.
They have a copy of the plan,
Okay.
and they also have comments. We've directed Public Works to review certain issues, so we would be able to coordinate with them better now that the initial review has gone out.
Okay. And then for resubmission for the next meeting, I know this, typically it's 3 weeks before, but given this size and scope of the project, would 2 weeks prior to be acceptable?
Yeah, that should be fine. Jerome, is this plan ready for action depending on conditions or?
It's close, but I think there needs to be better review for the Public Works Department. And then we could also, some of the conditions, for example, that I brought up about parking and identification of the undetermined commercial use.
Okay.
I think we can get that all resolved. I don't know how they're going to do the planning module, but they could work with Public Works. Larry, if you could have it completed by April 10th, I think we should be okay.
Okay, we'll do April 10th. Not a problem.
I do have a comment,
Go ahead.
if I may. Jerome is looking for the same things, or his staff, his engineer. He's looking for the same things that Public Works is. He's reviewing it for conformance with the ordinances and everything. So generally speaking, I'm deferring to Jerome to do the full review. That's not to say the Public Works won't have input or anything like that, but just so there's no confusion, we're not doing a double review here. I'm personally relying on Jerome to do a thorough review, which I think he does. He does a really nice job.
Larry, just some of the things that I brought up that need verification. You'll obviously need to coordinate with Deb Hogue on the planning module itself. Because as I mentioned in my review, I'm not sure how you're going to address the undetermined commercial use at this stage.
Right.
Certainly the four residential use or 4 residential apartment uses will justify at least 3 EDU over what was previously approved. But then if you want to factor in 1 EDU or 2 EDUs for the commercial use, I think that is Deb's call. But I think I gave you a thorough enough review.
Yep,
to
you did.
revisions.
What was the use of this property beforehand?
It was some sort of small, like, warehouse manufacturing type of thing. It was so long ago, there wasn't any recent permits.
It's been unoccupied?
Correct.
Yeah, I don't remember what was in there either. Take a look at the picture again. Maybe I'll spark a memory. Let's,
So then we're looking at a table, right? We're looking at a table until next month. Okay.
yeah, I vaguely remember a sign being there, but it must have been a long time ago. And I see that.
There was an auto repair, like paint shop on Oley Street in that area. I don't know if this was the building. Long time ago.
Okay, does any of the commissioners have a question about this plan?
No.
Okay, then if you're and you've answered you have asked all your questions, Larry?
Yes, I have.
Very good. Then do I hear a motion to table?
Yep. I'll take it.
Okay, Peter, second?
Oh, second. Sorry, what was that?
Nelson? Who can get to the mute button first?
Yeah.
The question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, very good. We will take a look at this again next month and should be in pretty good shape by next month. Look forward to it. Next up, we have the minor land development plan for 1360 North 10th Street. Also a new plan, so I'll turn it over to Jerome for the evaluation.
Okay. This review was issued on March 18th, 2026. It was for the 1360 North 10th Street minor land development plan. The site, as mentioned, is located at 1360 North 10th Street. The project is another adaptive reuse project, so it's a redevelopment revitalization project that will be considered. It is in the R3 zoning district. Zoning Hearing Board granted relief to allow the adaptive reuse, which will consist of a daycare facility on the first floor and 3 residential apartments on the second and third floors. There are 5 off-street parking areas. The applicant also will be reserving satellite or off-site parking spaces at Pike Cafe. We had asked that if available, the applicant should submit architectural renderings, floor plans, or facade drawings in order to consider this project down the line. As mentioned, the first floor will consist of the daycare, and then the upper floors will be consisting of the residential apartments. The dimensional requirements for the R3 zoning district should be located on the plan or contained on the plan. The proposed refuse disposal area will need to be identified on the plan. For the points of ingress and egress and site accessibility for the site, including parking, as mentioned, the 3 residential apartments will have the parking at the Pike Cafe. So the 5 reservation spaces or proof of the agreements will need to be provided to the Planning and Zoning Office. For the daycare facility itself, it appears that the locations of the parking spaces will allow for entries to come in and out of the site. It appears that some of the pictures that I provided, that it does can accommodate a bus as well. So therefore, that would be the loading space comment. Moving on down, the curbs are basically brick sidewalks, and the ramps, they're basically in fair condition. Public Works has come back and indicated that replacement, it would be more than likely required for this project. The brick sections of the sidewalk are also in need of repair or replacement. So that's what the recommendation is from Public Works. The proposed development will be connected to the sanitary sewer system, and it appears that a planning module will need to be required in order to pick up the other additional 3 residential apartment units. Fire and Rescue will need to review this plan as well. Based upon our review of pre- and post-development conditions on this site, there will be no increase in impervious coverage or building area, so therefore no stormwater management plan is required for this site. We asked for a few compliance notes and for the applicant to consider and add to the plan. A municipal agreement, improvements agreement may be required, and if so, we would probably consider the simple version for this project. And that's all I have for now.
Okay. Larry, are you also here for this one?
I am also here for this one.
Do you have any questions?
No, let's see. It's basically the same as for 108. I know we didn't get a county planning commission review letter yet. Do we need one for this one?
No, we received communication that review from the Berks County Planning Commission wasn't required for this one.
Okay.
That's one thing we don't have to worry about.
And everything else is just, I don't have any issues with it, just adding more stuff to the plans, more notes, more clarification.
Okay. And would you do you have any questions or comments about this, Don?
I do not, thank you.
Okay. Do any of the commissioners have a question about this or comment?
I was just curious, along 10th Street there is a fenced-in area. Is that, I guess, intended to be a playground or something? Is that what that is?
Yeah, as I remember, there's a daycare on the first floor.
Yeah, the daycare was approved quite a while ago. There was a daycare that went in and came out. Another one was supposed to go in. I think those plans fell through. I believe they have identified another daycare to go in. So that was approved and that was already established at some point. The new thing would be on the upper floors, the residential. So all of that parking that's existing on site, that's reserved for the daycare. That's within the zoning hearing board decision. All of the residential or the parking for the residential use will be at the Pike Cafe, and we do have a parking agreement that satisfied the condition.
Do you know how many children will be? This will be.
That would be a question for, I believe they would have it would be in the zoning hearing board decision, what they're maxed out as. I can get that to you later, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's been several years since the daycare was operating. That sounds right. Prior to that, it was a hotel/restaurant. For many years, it was different hands. It was a restaurant over the years. The first floor.
Okay. With that, let's see here. I'm getting myself mixed up here. There we go. So here with that, are we looking to table with get a few things straightened out first?
Yes.
So, there's John. Okay, very good. Then do I hear a motion to table the plan for 1360 North 10th Street?
So move. Yeah.
I'll take Nelson first. And then Peter. Okay, and question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, very good.
Then I have one more question on that, same as for 108.
Sure.
Is April 10th okay for a resubmission? I guess it's mostly for,
Yes, that'd be fine.
okay.
Okay, great. Okay, well, we look forward to, unless, let's forget if Larry's on the next one.
Yes, he is.
I am.
Jesus. Okay, very good. Then we'll move on to the next one, which is on the page 3. 324 Bartlett Street, minor subdivision and land development plan, and I'll hand it over to Jerome for the introduction.
Yes, this plan was reviewed on March 19th, 2026. This is the 324 Bartlett Street subdivision and land development plan. This is, again, located at 324 Bartlett. This is a little bit different. It is a subdivision plan containing one family semi-detached dwelling, means 2 units, 1 on each side. A little bit tricky in terms of on the layout of the site. Although the the plan calls it for Bartlett Street being the frontage. The homes along Bartlett all have access, it appears, to the rear of the property through a 15-foot wide alley. So let's keep all that in mind. The site is located in the R2 zoning district. The applicant did receive some relief from the, oops, maybe not this plan, never mind. The applicant has been granted zoning relief by the zoning hearing board via ZHB Appeal 2509-0032. As I mentioned, the site is tight. We'd asked for some architectural renderings, elevations, and floor plans to demonstrate compliance with the setback requirements. The existing site and the building improvements, the house, porch, deck, and accessory buildings are very close to 318 Bartlett Street. And then also the landscaping that's located on the opposite side of the track will also have some conflict with this property as well. So lots 1 and 2 will have vehicular access and site improvements through a 15-foot wide alley. It's partially improved, partially not, along the rear portion of the development. The alley segment does appear on the City of Reading alley map and also the Berks County tax maps. The applicant should verify if the existing 15-foot wide alley will be further improved or expanded in order to accommodate this dwelling. The property that's located at 340 and 342 Bartlett Street, that's an existing semi-detached unit as well. They chose to use the 15-foot wide alley and then park in the front of their home, which would go through this property. So I think that there's going to have to be some communication between the applicant. Well, I know there's going to have to be some communication between the applicant and the owners of 340 and 342 so that they can correct their parking locations on the existing conditions. They will not be able to park in the front unless they establish a driveway along Bartlett. We had also asked that they provide the vehicular turning movements that are going to be necessary in order to demonstrate compliance with, in order to get in and out of the property. We had asked also that the emergency management services also look at the points of ingress and egress to the site. They will need planning module relief for this, or not, I'm sorry, they'll need to submit planning modules for this site since it's going to increase by an extra EDU. It's more than one for the site. It's going to be 2 units. The landscaping on the plan is shown, and again, with the city, the arborist for the City of Reading has brought up that some of the plant material are located on another lot or this lot, and it would have to somehow be, find a way to either preserve it or move them. The status of the existing, that's the status of the existing hedgerow. Further on down, we have some technical issues that we had issued for stormwater management. There will be a spot for on-lot detainment of stormwater on this site in order to pick up the increased flows. There will be an erosion and sedimentation control plan that was submitted with this application and would need to be, the letter of adequacy would need to be submitted back. Moving on down, there will be a need for a municipal improvements agreement on this one, as well as a stormwater management maintenance agreement. I'm not sure if we got the county review yet, but that's also required.
We do have the county review for this project.
We did. We received county review on the 19th.
Did you notice anything out of the ordinary in that review?
Microphone's off.
Okay, Larry, do you have any comments or questions?
One, I guess, comment, one about this. So we did a title search for this property and for the gravel access. So there's no record of any easement or right of way for that. So, I mean, we'll have a neighborly conversation with 342 and 340 Bartlett, how we're going to do that. But I mean, right now they're accessing their property through property that's not theirs. So I'll work with our attorney on how we address that.
Okay, this can be a delicate situation. Depending on how long they've been using it, they could claim adverse possession.
Right, right.
So, my father had a problem with this 20 years ago, where even though it wasn't on the current deed, there was a right of way on the previous deed, and that cost my father $15,000. So, yeah, they can claim adverse possession if they've been using it for more than 11 years. So, yeah, I would definitely try to find out more about that.
Yep. And then for the erosion sediment control, we're under 5,000 square feet of earth disturbance. So we did an E&S plan just for construction. We weren't anticipating submitting to the county conservation district for their review. And then,
Okay, I forget how that works, since it's less than 5,000 square feet for the E&S. They don't have to submit that, right?
No.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Here, I got the adverse possession thing, so. All right.
questions. And then for the arborist, so I know we have the row of arborvitae on the, I'll call it plan right. Who should I coordinate that with?
Seems like it'll be the owner on that side of the because it looks like that they had planted those arborvitae some time ago. They're mature, and they were put in as a barrier. So they're on your property. Are they going to be preserved?
It doesn't look like it is going to be, because house is going up there. But
Just so everyone's aware, on the alley map, that 15-foot alley goes directly across, not necessarily like into their lot. And if they were parking on there, they were parking illegally, because you can't park on grass or an unimproved surface. So I don't know if that affects the adverse possession, but
They create the persons at 340 and 342. They created that path.
yeah.
I have a question. We're referring to an alley map. Are we thinking that the alley is public or private?
It's shared by multiple property owners.
So that would be private.
I'm not sure what their deeds, Larry, do you know what their deed refers to the alley as?
I believe the alley is public, because everyone's deed runs right up to, there's a 15-foot.
So the way that and of course, all of this has changed because this alley map is decades old. But where it curves into to go in front of those, that was made by them. The alley actually was originally planned to run completely through. Obviously, plans have changed, and so now there's a house on top of where an alley was originally planned on that block. But that little curve right there, that's not part of like an alley map or anything. That would have just been, they did that themselves.
Now, 340 and 342 has the opportunity to reestablish and utilize a 10-foot wide alley that's located on their southern boundary and then recreate that point of ingress and egress versus utilizing the existing 15-foot wide alley. So they have an option if they want to continue to utilize their front yard for parking. Or they could also work out an agreement with, some form of an agreement with the landowner for this property at 324 Bartlett and see if they could annex the frontage of those properties so that they can reestablish frontage along Bartlett.
There's a stormwater facility on there.
Yeah, that part could not be utilized. The green figures that you see on the plan, those are trees that are proposed by the applicant. But there is a stormwater management facility located just to the east of that, those two trees that would need to be established. And our solicitor brought up the point that an agreement's going to have to be made for the utilization of the stormwater management maintenance agreement, since it's for both lots.
Has this alley been a paper alley?
These guys have parking there, but still have a management agreement to maintain it. Yeah.
Sorry, can you repeat that, Don?
Has this alley been just a paper alley, for a really long time, or has it been in use as a private alley?
It appears that it's been in use. I used it when I did my site review.
Okay.
Did you create the dog leg?
Yep. I went over, I did 600 site visits between now.
Is it fair to say that, there seems to be a question whether it's public or private, which, as everybody knows, we're going to try to clear up. But is it fair to say that whatever it is, whether it's public or private now, it's going to stay that way through this development?
Yes.
We're not changing anything with the alley. The issue is there's a gravel drive that comes off of the alley through the property at 324 Bartlett to below 342 and 340 Bartlett that comes, it's just not on their property that they're using the access.
Okay.
And
But
as Emily mentioned, the two existing semi-detached dwellings at 340 and 342 Bartlett have been put over where the 15-foot wide alley would have extended through. So the homes have cut off the path for any future extension. So it looks like needs to be a neighborhood meeting.
Yeah.
The question here, Mr. Chairman, is as well on the public or private. I think is important for a number of reasons. On the alley, the developer mentioned about the deed, the property lines going up to the alley. That may be so, and it will not answer the question as to whether it's public or private. We'll have to see if the deed refers to it as a private or public alley, and so perhaps Public Works will have to do more research. Because if that southern portion of the alley, as appears on the map we had seen, the paper part of it, so to speak, was indeed a public alley, which I have no reason to believe it was, but if it were, we would have to consider vacating that, wouldn't we?
I'd like to add to the question. When I'm hearing that, the property lines going up to the right of way, it suggests that the alley is owned by the city in fee simple. And I do think that we need some more investigation as far as what that alley really is.
Yes, thank you. And then,
Yes, I
And
yeah, I
then- and
agree.
then- yeah, this is apart really from this plan, really. I mean, but it's related while we're on it, because it's part of the alley that's beyond this lot that's being proposed for development. But obviously, it's a related question. And then 340 and 342, I just find that unusual that they're addressed on Bartlett but have no access to Bartlett. I can only think of one other example I know of in the city like that, but that's a little different. There's like another, I don't know if it's in Hillside behind North 14th Street, which it could have been named Palm Street. I don't know if that's a road or a public alley or a public road or a driveway or how that's done, but I just think it's unusual. And I was thinking the same as our planning consultant, that maybe some easement or annexation so they could have access to Bartlett might be in order, because they're losing the access to the 15-foot alley northbound on the Prospect. My main concern, though, is does the fire marshal think there's adequate access to 340 and 342 now that they'll be cut off from that alley? Does it matter or not? So that'd be a question I would pose to the fire marshal.
Well, they can get
And
out
then,
from
thank you.
the rear of Arlington Street.
Yeah, they have access to Arlington Street, but not a driveway. I saw that. It was I looked into that. Their property extends to Arlington, but there's no driveway access.
Right, but
so is it adequate for emergency or not would be a question for the fire marshal. It might be, it might not be. But that's, again, it's apart from this, but obviously it's related. Yeah.
Yeah, I think part of the problem here is that it is such an odd shaped lot. Okay, yes.
Larry, did you hear the discussion that you're going to have a drainage easement since the stormwater facilities are on the other lot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Larry, has your client looked at the opportunity to swap land to the property at 340, 342, extend the western property line over to them a little bit in exchange for the frontage?
Yeah, we looked at that very, very early into it. And I think one of the issues was in getting the subdivision approved to do that was a longer path. But I mean, I'll talk to him and his attorney. Maybe that one of the solutions is that we just grant an access easement through our property, and they work something out. And we'll have to put 342 and 340 would have to put a curb cut in Bartlett Street. But if we give them an access easement, I think that's probably the easiest thing to do. That we cut off, I'll say plan left, the reverse L, just 15-foot easement or whatever we need up through that. They'll go in between if you look at a plan that shows the proposed trees, it would basically be in between those two trees.
What I would prove.
If you can look at the land swap, I think when you talk to the existing landowners of 340 and 342, if they get the frontage along Bartlett, that will give them parking in the front. And then in exchange, if there is some additional land to your west, that would then you would be able to then provide more room to shift the semi-detached units to the west a little bit, preserve that hedgerow, and you still will be able to get parking in the rear. Seems like that would be a win-win for everybody.
But I don't see what land we're getting.
Well, the land in the front of, along Bartlett, where you have your two trees,
Yeah.
if that were to be given to 340 and 342 so that they could have established frontage along Bartlett,
Right.
and then if the property line that they currently have at 340 and 342, if that were then straightened out
Yeah.
versus coming out at an angle, you could then shift your semi-detached to the west.
Yeah. I do remember
Yeah.
looking at early on, and it created, I think I have to go back and look to get because that was a long time ago. I think it created more issues than this one, but we can look into it. We'll revisit it again.
So I'm just looking at the street view of this. Technically, both of those, 340 and 342 would have, so 340, if they just follow the 15 wide foot alley straight through into their yard, they could park on their property. And then there is an opening along Arlington Street where people are driving through. It's not an improved alley. It is shown on the alley map and people are utilizing it. And this will lead into 342. So they technically, each of these houses do have access to their own property, not off of Bartlett, but they do have vehicular access without necessarily having to figure out a land swap or anything, having to re-subdivide 324 or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell the client or his attorney and we'll figure something out. I mean,
The follow-up question I had, I saw that, but I didn't see it was wide enough for vehicular access. The question is, the driveway in front of 340 and 342, if it's not an alley, or this driveway, do they not, this is a question for zoning, do they not have to be paved then? They can't be gravel, right?
So that's not, that they created this on their own through another parcel. The alley is here.
But where they're parking now in front of their properties, it's effectively a
It's
driveway that leads to the
It's
10-foot
illegal.
alley on the south end or west end, right?
Here?
Further down.
Well, I don't know that we're gonna solve it here. We
No.
just let
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
figure it out.
Right. Yeah, I think this is up to more review by the applicant and see what they want to do. All we can do is make a few suggestions at this point, so that it doesn't turn into a long legal battle. Let's see here. Okay, any other questions on this one? All right. Since this will take further review, do I hear a motion to table?
Yes.
Okay, Peter
Second.
and Nelson. Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Very good. Well, thank you again, Larry.
Yep.
For that.
I do have a question. I don't know that I'll be able to submit this in time for the next meeting with all these issues with the access. But for the arborvitae that's on the wall call plan, right? And if we need to relocate those with the arborist, like will the city arborist want us to relocate those or replace those? Who's our contact with the city?
That'll be Lester Kissinger. I can send you his contact information after the meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Emily. All right, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Larry.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we have the North Reading Plaza at 1853 North Third Street, and I'll hand it over to Jerome for the update.
Yes, thank you. We reviewed this plan on March 20th, 2026. This is the North Reading Plaza, a subdivision and land development plan. This is a lengthy review, and I'll attempt to summarize it as best as possible. There will be a subdivision of this property located along, well, it is now identified as North Reading Plaza, but it's a total of 17.58 acres located at 853 North Third Street. Lot 1 will be, we'll call it the lot that fronts along Burn Street, will be 12.19 acres and will contain the neighborhood shopping center. Lot 2 will be 5.39 acres and will be, have access onto Rockland Street, which would be for a future development. So it is not being developed at this point. So the main focus is going to be Lot 1. The applicant has submitted quite a significant amount of information at this point, including a stormwater management plan and an erosion and sedimentation control plan. The development is located within the MC zoning district. The applicant has received zoning relief for this site in order for one, to establish a neighborhood shopping center on Lot 1. The second item is to reduce the off-street parking requirements by 50% of the requirements for a neighborhood shopping center. And then, as mentioned, there is no zoning relief required for Lot 2 at this point. We did provide the requirements for the MC zoning district, in which they seem to comply with the provisions at this point. There will be 6 buildings on Lot 1, and those would be, building 1 would have a total of 82,000 square feet of retail space containing 14 individual uses. Building 2 will be in the northern portion of Lot 1, which will have 15,000 square feet, and it'll be for one use at this point. Building 3 will be in the northeastern portion of the property and will have 96,000 square feet with 21 uses. And then finally, lots 4, 5, and 6 are in the southeast portion of Lot 1, which will have 16,740 square feet with 5 uses, and then also will have drive-through service facilities. We will need to evaluate whether or not certain studies are required. The studies that would be required for major developments such as this would be an environmental impact assessment report, a community and fiscal impact assessment report, a traffic impact assessment report, a parking loading impact assessment report, and a park and recreation impact assessment report. Of those, the most critical, I think, is the environmental impact assessment report, which probably was done already, and the traffic impact assessment report. Moving forward with the review.
Hey, Jerome.
Yes.
Hey, Jerome. Does our code of ordinances require any of those studies that you just mentioned?
Yes, section 515-405 of the SALDO does.
All of them?
All of them.
Okay. Well, I'd like to reiterate the traffic impact study for me is the most important for a shopping center. I think it's probably likely that a traffic signal is going to be needed for that project. Since all of those are required, does the applicant need to request waivers before we would even consider any waivers?
I would imagine that we will be provided with a waiver request once the applicant has had the opportunity to digest the comments and then determine if some of these impact studies are indeed not necessary.
Okay. One last thing. Has the review letter been issued to the applicant already? And is it written, excuse me for not remembering if it has, have we told the applicant that by code they do need to submit those studies?
It says these studies may be required. The applicant is here.
Okay. Well, it sounds like if the code requires it, it's really not optional. So I think the applicant is going to have to request it. Otherwise, it's mandatory.
Yes. So if they do not feel that the studies are required, or one of the studies would say not be required, not be justifiable, then the applicant has the ability to ask for a waiver, since it is in the subdivision and land development ordinance. But we'll cross that, I think, when we had the opportunity to look at all the other comments within this letter. But I agree with you that the most significant one is the traffic impact assessment report. Moving forward with the site accessibility, we had numerous comments with regards to traffic accessibility. The 4 designated points of ingress and egress are going to be located along Burn Street. So this will have an impact along Burn Street. And we have also included a variety of comments. What I had suggested when I released this letter to staff would be to have a technical meeting with the applicant in order to discuss these item by item. And then that way, that would give them better direction on how to resolve the traffic issues. And I think that could be done with Public Works and the planning office on our side, and then with the applicant and his engineer to discuss those comments. But they are numerous, and it's not like it's a bad design. It's just that the requirements need to be resolved. Keeping in mind with the reduction, they do comply with the parking requirements, even with the reduction. So they have some play with the numbers.
If I could add, I mean, I think it's exciting that the city, that this project is being proposed in the city, helps with revitalization goal. But with a project this size, it's just natural that you have to address the different concerns that are in those studies.
There will be issues with curbs and sidewalks and ramps, particularly along Burn Street. I did go over just briefly the parking requirements. So they have obtained the 50% reduction. They have 839 off-street parking spaces that will be required for this site, and they provided 420. So they're at that 50% plateau. The development will be will be served by sanitary sewer service. What we're going to need to do is go back and look at records on what the site was previously utilized, which was the Glidden factory, and see if we can pull records for water supply to that facility, and then compare it to the proposed water supply that's going to be necessary for the neighborhood shopping center. So it's going back in time and looking at that information and comparing it to the future requirements, and Public Works will be able then to make the final determination whether or not a planning module is required. The fire and rescue will also need to be reviewing this plan. This is, again, a substantial plan, and they'll probably have a significant amount of input on fire lanes and things of that nature, and also would be able to assess the fire hydrants and standpipes in the area. A lighting plan will eventually be required as part of this plan. They submitted a partial lighting plan, and as per our standard requirements and reduction of exterior lighting and down lighting, we had asked that those notes be eventually placed on the plan. They did provide a landscaping plan on the plan, so the City of Reading arborist will need to review this in further detail. Again, it does seem like it mitigated quite a lot of impacts, but we'll go through that in further detail. A stormwater management plan and report has been submitted, and as you can see, we've had a number of comments, and this will be part of the technical report or technical meeting that we feel would be necessary to keep the project moving in a positive direction. They have also submitted an erosion and sedimentation control plan. With this project, typically an NPDES permit is required due to the amount of disturbance. And I'm not sure if they're going to be getting a relief because the area was considered previously disturbed in some capacity or another. So I think we need to check in with the Conservation District to see what their requirements are. As mentioned, Lot 2 is a 5.39 acre site, and something that's not required yet, but it will be required as we move forward. The frontage along Rockland Street appears to extend 475 feet from Center Avenue. Not sure how far that goes onto Lot 2, but when Lot 2 is further developed, it would need to extend Rockland Street further in order to reestablish frontage. That's on the PennDOT liquid fuels map, so it could be different on what's shown on the our topo maps. We asked for a variety of notes to be placed on the plan. The Berks County Planning Commission will need to review the plan. And when we get to the final plan stage, a municipal improvements agreement will be required, as well as a stormwater management maintenance agreement will be required. So that attempts to sum it up. There's a lot more in here than what I just said, but I think we can take care of a great deal of matters with the technical meeting.
Yeah, just so that the public understands the written portion of this review is 8 pages. But it's a big lot, and there's a lot going in many different things that the developer would like to put into this. So it will take a little bit of time. Emily, did we receive Berks County notes, comments?
Tom, was this, did you submit directly to the Berks County Planning Commission?
Yeah, but it hasn't been long enough, so we didn't see comments yet.
Okay, very good. All right. Okay, Alan is here. Do you have any comments or questions, Alan?
Alan, up here at the podium with the mic so people online can hear you. Or there.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. The property is currently owned by the Berks County Industrial Development Authority. So as we go through this subdivision, we will just be purchasing and developing the lot number 1. Everything dealing with lot number 2 will be handled by the BCIDA, who will retain ownership of that lot.
This is an early question, but just something to think about. Will the transfer be before the agreements are executed, just so we know who the parties are to the agreements? Again, I don't need an answer at this time, but just something to think about as we go through the process. That's fine. As we said, I don't need an answer right now. It's just something to think about, so. We'll just say it makes it easier if it's transferred before, but that may not be possible because of the lot, because of the subdivision, but we'll work through that.
The only question I had was, and this will probably come up in the technical meeting. Says the project narrative notes that due to contaminated soil infiltration is not recommended. However, the proposed rain gardens are only provided with a geotextile fabric and not an impervious liner. I forget if it was, is it Jeremy at Berks IDA? Or if it was you, Alan, who mentioned that, yeah, there will be an impervious liner.
Yeah, there'll be an impervious liner. That was just a typo. It should not be a geotech. It'll be an impervious liner under those two rain gardens.
Okay, and that sounds like Tom.
Yep, that's
Yes.
me.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
And to further clarify another issue, there will be an MPDS permit required. So it'll have an MPDS permit. It just won't have any infiltration.
Right. Okay, does, Don, do you have anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners? Okay. All right, hearing none. Do you have anything else, Alan?
I don't. We just got the report last week. We're working our way through it. We look forward to having a meeting with the committee.
Okay, well, thank you for coming over, Alan. We really appreciate it to see you on these big projects.
My pleasure.
We'll try and initiate the meeting for next week.
Sure.
We'll get that distributed.
I just wanted to comment that a few months ago, Public Works resurfaced this block of Burn Street, or 2 blocks of Burn Street, much smoother. It was rough before, so that was good.
Okay, well, we don't have Berks County Planning Commission comments, but there's also, of course, quite a bit of work to be done on this just because it is such a big project. Do we need a time extension, or are we only in the first 30 days? I forget where we are on this.
We're going to be good, I think, for at least another 2 months, but if we're going to entertain a time extension, I would suggest a long period of time, because we're not going to get this solved in 90 days, even after the initial 90 days comes up. So we may look at an extension through the end of the year.
I would think after the technical meeting, we have a better idea, better handle on that.
Yeah, I mean, Alan can send us his request, or Jeremy can send a request anytime in the next 60 days.
Okay.
Depending on how you guys feel about that.
I'd say let's do a request right now for 180 days.
Oh, okay.
Why don't you do that for next month's meeting? We're good right now.
Okay.
Yeah, right now the 90 days is up on June 22nd. That's the deadline currently.
So we got time to renew this.
Yeah, so 180-day extension would be, I think, would be quite good. Anyway, with that, do I hear a motion to table?
To move.
Peter? Okay, Nelson? Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, very good. Once again, thank you, Alan. And we hope to actually see you next month with an update.
Okay, great, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Attorney Cook just texted me.
That would be appropriate before we do the waiver request. So let's do that. So we will go back to item number, what is it, 6C? Item number 6C on the agenda, which is the revised plan of record for 601 Penn Street. And I'll turn it over to Jerome for the update.
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
We did have Attorney Cook and Peter from Heights Advisors last week at the workshop meeting. Based on comments given during the meeting, and there was also a site visit conducted by Planning Manager Simon and the City Engineer Don. Made the biggest concerns have been addressed. We did receive revised plans today. There is a note on the front page regarding the uses of the basement, first floor, second floor for the commercial uses. Per Solicitor Gumbar, the City Council solicitor, he stated to us that identifying the specific uses now wasn't the intent of the settlement, but they do need to be non-residential commercial. So the note on here, I'll just read it off for those who, it's pretty small. It says the use of the basement, first floor, and second floor of the building shall at all times comply with the then applicable zoning ordinances, zoning decision as modified by the settlement agreement, and as may be further approved by the zoning hearing board. I believe that was the only additional comment that needed to be made. Everything else, other concerns, again, they have been addressed according, and Don, you can add anything if I missed anything, but everyone was good with the site visit. So this is, I believe, ready for action.
Nothing to add from me.
The terms of the settlement agreement are referenced on the plan, at least in part.
That is correct, Michelle.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll scroll down. They do have the ZHB decision and the settlement agreement on the plan. A copy of each of them is on the plan. So that will be recorded as well.
And just so we're clear, Emily, this is Mark Cook speaking again. I want to thank everybody for their time. But yes, the synopsis of the settlement agreement contains all the relevant concerns and the entire zoning decision.
Okay. What was I going to ask? I think all my questions are what was the date of the review that I think it was it you, Jerome, that went with Don over there, or was it Simon?
I believe it was Simon and Don that attended the. Peter, what was the date of the visit? Was it the 10th?
It was Simon.
I believe it was the 10th, correct?
Yeah, I think it was March 10th.
Okay. I just wanted to make that clear. Okay. Don, do you have any comments on this one?
I do not, thank you.
Okay. Any comments from the commissioners? Okay, hearing none. Do I hear a motion to grant approval of the revised plan of record for 601 Penn Street, saldo number 2602-0004, subject to the applicant resolving all issues referenced within the review letter issued by Hawk Valley Associates dated February 17th, 2026, and the on-site review that took place on March 10th, 2026.
Mr. Chairman, it was on 9.
Mr. Chairman.
9th. Okay.
Yeah, the 10th, I believe.
10th or the 9th?
It was on 9th at around, it was on 9th, according to the information I have here, Peter.
Mr. Chairman, with that motion on the table, are there any outstanding items left from the review letter? I thought we had resolved them all.
Yeah, I think they're all resolved from looking over the looking over what's on the plan with with what you submitted as the last note.
My mic does.
Would the
Real quick, Mark, were sewer planning modules approved yet?
I believe they have been.
Can you forward me that letter? I don't have it.
Peter, can you confirm? I think we did receive that, correct? He's texting me and saying yes. So we do have sewer planning module approval. We will get that over to Emily.
Sorry, I was unmuting the microphone. Yes, no, that's been done. That's correct.
I thought so, Peter. Thank you for jumping in.
Yeah, if someone can just forward that to me because I don't have it. I mean,
No
and
problem.
regardless, it's listed in Jerome's review letter, so that would have to be resolved anyways as the condition. So I think we're good.
I just wanted to make sure, Emily, and for the board, that we have all of those conditions resolved. I'd respectfully ask that letter be removed from the conditional approval.
But you have not fulfilled sending the planning module to the planning department yet.
We can, I believe it was copied to the city, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
But we'll double check that.
Okay. It's actually at this point a minor thing.
As long as we're all on the same page, that we're pretty much, not pretty much, but we're resolved with all of those conditions, because we figured we'd have heard anything at the workshop meeting if there were any issues.
Yeah. No, it's just dotting i's and crossing t's at this point, which with this final plan submission that you have done, it looks like everything is complete.
Great.
Yeah.
Jerome, we on the same page?
Yes, absolutely. But the condition still remains as part of the motion. Okay. Yeah, which no one has made yet. So do I hear a motion?
I will make that motion.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Peter. Second?
A second.
Okay. Who is that?
Will.
Well,
Will? That's what I thought. Okay. Very good. Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, very good. Well, thanks again to Mark and the team for seeing this through. And I'm pretty sure we'll have this wrapped up tomorrow once we receive the confirmation of the planning modules.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for accommodating my schedule this evening. I apologize for any inconvenience.
I just like to go ahead.
You have signed plans?
We'll submit signed and sealed plans.
I
I'm
just
sorry,
want
what'd you
to
say?
comment, Mr. Chairman, this as well. This was a major project. We had some serious concerns. It took us a long time to work through all this, but I think being deliberate has paid off. We've got a plan here that is compliant, and I wish the developer success.
Thank you, Will. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Mark, and just so as soon as I get those that approval letter, I'll just need 5 copies signed and sealed of the plans in order for the commissioners to sign them then.
Thank you, Emily. Appreciate that. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And By the way, Mark, it wasn't a problem. We're actually only about halfway through the meeting.
Well, it worked out then for me, I guess. Thank you very much. I apologize, Mr. Chairman.
So, yeah, no problem at all. We're just glad we're able to help you out.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Okay, thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank
All
you
right,
too.
now to page 3. Okay, first up, we have a waiver from land development request for 150 North 5th Street. And I'll turn this one over to Emily, since for some reason I didn't receive any staff reports.
Yes, sorry, I'm used to the waiver request kind of being a little bit more simple. I can definitely issue something in writing for next time. But 150 North 5th Street, it's an adaptive reuse project. They did receive zoning hearing board approval to add 8 apartments on the 2nd and 3rd floors. The first floor will remain non-residential commercial, and it does have a mezzanine. It is located in the CC district. They asked for a waiver request from land development because the building takes up the entire lot, and all improvements will be interior. Mr. Schuman is here if you have any questions for him, but the only thing that will be required is the sewer planning modules for sure. And so unless there's anything else that the commissioners feel would absolutely necessitate a plan, I believe that a waiver could be granted with the condition that sewer planning modules be completed.
Emily, is parking provided, or is the zoning hearing board decision provide for where parking has to be?
Yes, we have parking.
If the commission is so inclined to grant the waiver, I'd condition upon the planning modules.
I do see that there was a report from February 11th that the applicant did make a few changes to the floor plan to make the apartments more compliant. And
Yes.
we really appreciate that. I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, for adaptive reuse, it does allow for, we did expand the allowance for studio apartments. And so they were agreeable to making one of the smaller 1-bedrooms into a studio apartment. And that way it complied. There was very minimal variance for habitable area for, I believe it was for for the 1-bedrooms, they were deficient 3 square feet. So they did receive that relief.
Okay. Any other comments on this one?
It's more of an inquiry to the commission. Thoughts on having this recorded so that there is documentation with the county. I have done in other municipalities waivers of land development where they've been recorded.
Okay, so we would record
basically this with any notes about the zoning hearing board relief. And it would just say, I can get the language from before, it would just basically say waiver of land development. I don't even know that my other board signed it. I just have a concern based on my history here and the electronic age, having something filed somewhere else. So in the future, we know what exists there and what's been approved there.
Would it suffice if there's a revised deed indicating the changes?
The revised D is not going to change. It's not going to exhibit what's.
Howdy, guys.
there'll be a zoning permit with this as well, right?
Yes, the zoning permit, all the building permits have the plans.
I would record the zoning permit with it.
Yeah, you could just record this as a waiver and the zoning permit as part of it. And or put a note on there with the zoning relief.
Okay.
That way there is something recorded at the courthouse.
Okay.
Yeah, I do always like to see that done just to cover the applicant, just in case there's ever a question.
Could we just have him record the as-built plans
Yes. With
That-
notes.
with notes indicating the ZHB decision, the waiver?
Yeah, that's our custom, is to request as-built plans in lieu of in exchange for a waiver.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes
As
sense to
part of-
reference the zoning. Yep.
Sorry. As part of the recommendation from the ZHP, there is a recommendation that a formal parking agreement between 150 and 147 is submitted. Was that condition met?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Let me point out that's one of our properties as well.
Okay, very good. Okay, anything else on this project?
I'm just curious, what is it currently? What's on the upper floors currently?
So this was the Mast Engineering building. We purchased it back in January. The tenants upstairs, there were several office tenants, primarily physical therapists. We relocated the upstairs tenants over to the old Community General Hospital facility. So about 20 to 30 employees. They were getting several dozen customers per day at that location. So now it'll be down to just 8 residential units and approximately 16 total people living there.
Mhm. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to grant a waiver from land development for 150 North Fifth Street, provided that the applicant files for the sewer plan modules and records the as-built plans with relevant notes?
To move.
Okay, Nelson? Second?
I'll
Peter?
second it, yeah.
Okay. Dan's getting tired. Nelson, Peter. Okay, question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, very good.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have, let's see here. This is the right one. No. It's this one. What's that? Okay, next up, we have a request to grant a waiver from land development for 320 North 9th Street. Emily?
Yeah, so this property actually did come before the Planning Commission before to annex parcels together to combine the building with the existing parking area. So this plan was recorded, and here's is showing you the, Berks County assessment. It is showing that it is all one parcel. They did get DEP approval for their necessary planning modules. There are 4 apartments on the upper floors. Again, the parking area was already existing. The only thing that they did was restripe it. They did the annexation to keep all of the parking with the building, and everything else is interior.
Okay, and you said that the annexation's been recorded and that we do have the planning modules.
Yes, the annexation was recorded. They did that prior to them kind of figuring out what exactly they wanted to do with the building, that they did the annexation first. They did get CHB approval for the units, and they do have DEP approval for their planning modules.
And I was confirming with Jerome that since assessment shows it that way, that means the revised deeds were.
I'm sorry?
The revised deeds were submitted as well.
Yes.
And do we know, this being at 320 North 9th Street, do we know if they received an updated HOP, if they needed an updated HOP permit?
I did not look into. They weren't making any changes to the entrance. They were just using it as is. We can look into that to make sure that they have their HOP, but that's been there quite a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't want to run into the same problem that we're running into at 1834 Schuylkill Avenue. So if we could just research that, just to make sure.
I can research that and then get back with the applicant and their engineer.
Okay. Any other questions about this waiver from land development? Okay, hearing none, do I hear a motion to grant a waiver from land development for 320 North 9th Street?
To move.
Okay, Nelson? And Peter seconds. Okay, question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, very good. And next up, we have a request for waiver from land development for 1112 and 1116 Butler Street.
So this was one that had been reviewed before. There's basically a revision to their waiver request. They're not asking to waive land development. They want to combine the plans. This technically would be one that we would do a separate preliminary and final plan. They would like to submit as a combined preliminary final plan. So we do have the plan here. John Hoffer is here on behalf of the owner. And they did submit a stormwater management plan and everything. It's just so that they can make it a combined plan instead of two separate plans. And one step for the annexation and land development.
I'm sorry, one step preliminary final together.
Yes.
Agreed, it's a simple one.
The request is to grant a waiver to allow for a combined submission of preliminary final.
Correct. And they have already submitted everything that they need for that. It's just a matter of this waiver getting granted so then we can process everything, send it to the Berks County Planning Commission and so forth for discussion and possible action next month.
On this request.
Can't hear anything.
Oh, John.
Just waiting for you to say approved. This is very similar to what you did for the Iglesia Cristiana Casa del Rey, the church project, where in fact that consisted of 4 various parcels that we merged into one, and a slight land development for the creation of those 4 parking spaces. This is similar in nature, and therefore we're simply requesting the one-step preliminary/final submission. And this is just to give Jerome basically heads up as to how to review the plan for hopefully next month.
Okay. So do I hear a motion to grant the request to file a annexation and combined preliminary final land development plan rather than a full land development plan?
I'll move it.
Okay, thank you, Will. Second?
Second.
Okay, Peter? Okay. Allison? I tried to spread around
Yeah.
the good vibes. The question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, opposed? Very good.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, thank you, John. Okay, next up, we have the two requests from the Reading Redevelopment Authority for reuse recommendations. I did find a summary on the FTP server. Is Paige here today?
She was on earlier. She may have stepped out. She may have had something else.
Yeah, I can understand that. She wears many hats.
Yes.
The okay, 913 is first. So basically 913 Oley Street, property located in the R3 residential zoning district. There is no zoning permit history to suggest the use to be anything other than a one-family attached dwelling. And should the Reading Redevelopment acquire the property, it should be maintained as a single-family dwelling. Do you have anything to add, Emily?
No, both of these are fairly straightforward. They just need the recommendation for acquisition.
Question. There's an addition to the back of this, or it looks like. I'm sorry, it looks like there's an addition. Not that it matters, it just, that is the same property. Okay.
All right, any questions on this? All right, do I hear a motion to recommend to the Redevelopment Authority to reuse 913 Oley Street as a single-family dwelling?
Yep.
Okay, Peter? Second?
Second.
Okay. That was James?
That was I, Will.
That was Will.
Oh, that was Will. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. And question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, very good. Interesting that the two of the people who served as our reps to the Blighted Property Review Board voted on that one. The second one is 142 Elm Street. Property is located in the R3 residential zoning district. There is no zoning permit history to suggest the use to be anything other than a one-family semi-detached dwelling. The property is on hold due to quality of life violations. Follow-up inspection scheduled for March 26th, 2026. Should the Reading Redevelopment Authority acquire the property, it should be maintained as a single-family dwelling. The Reading Redevelopment Authority should ensure that all quality of life violations have been rectified. No permits may be issued with an active hold on the property.
Nope, that's pretty much it. There is, I haven't checked recently, but the last time I checked, there was a follow-up inspection scheduled for this Thursday. I believe it was a no-show the last time. But until those quality of life violations are addressed, building permits and things like that, they won't be able to be approved and granted until, if they're the external, obviously like the internal ones, if they need building permits to address the quality of life, that's different. But those QOLs really need to be taken into consideration and figure out what exactly those are. Request the inspection report if they're able to do the follow-up inspection on Thursday.
I guess I was looking for clarification. So this is for a recommendation for the RRA to exercise eminent domain.
Correct.
To take these. Won't that clarify the quality of life? We don't want to leave we don't want to leave this property in this.
I put it in there for emphasis.
I'm sorry?
It's assumed that they will address all of
Okay.
the issues, that there's an actual hold on the property due to quality of life violations. And so it was just an emphasis to let them know kind of how our new system works. When there's a hold placed on the property, it's difficult to get other types of permits. The note was made just for emphasis to keep it in mind that there are these violations.
They get zeroed out when the property transfers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, and that's my recommendation to this commission would be that the hold would be removed upon the RRA taking possession of the property.
That would be, so that hold was placed from the property maintenance division.
Right.
So yeah, we would have to discuss with them.
Your recommendation says with an active hold on the property. So if the RRA is looking for a recommendation from this commission, I think it would be that the hold would be, that they would recommend using it as a single family with the holds removed upon the RRA taking ownership.
Yeah. Well, the interesting question is, what does the RA do with it then? And if it continues to be blighted and continues to incur quality of life fines, then it's on them at that point.
The recommendation would be, the hold would be removed with the understanding that the RRA is going to refurbish, rehabilitate the property as a single family home. And comply with the, I just don't want the hold to hold up the RRA taking possession, which hopefully remedy.
It won't hold up the transfer of the property. And it'll be something that once they start submitting, whatever permits that need to be submitted to fix up the property, then, but the actual transfer, the hold won't hold up the transfer.
About the transfer.
Okay, I just want to make sure that.
Yeah, the hold won't affect the transfer of the property. It's more so in our system. Once there's a hold, depending on what the hold is and then what the permit that they're applying for, there would need to be some extra coordination with that. But it won't affect the transfer of the property.
Okay.
So the question is, the hold has no legal status. It's just an internal notation, right?
Correct. It's supposed to, so, if the zoning office or property maintenance would place a hold, so let's say the zoning office places a hold on the property because there's a violation. Then when building and trades, if they receive a permit application and they try to put it in the system, they see that there's a hold for whatever the violation is, and it's to help track to make sure that these violations are rectified.
So it's basically the city's version of the Neighborhood Remediation Blight Act. Just so you know.
Yes.
Okay.
If you say so.
But yes, the hold will not affect the transfer of the property.
Quality of life could be simply garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I said, if it's weeds or garbage or whatever, then the hold can be taken off. Who's to say that when they do the inspection on Thursday, if that hold will be taken off? I don't know.
Okay, I just want to be, that it's not going to delay RRAs.
No, it won't affect the transfer.
So we recommend that the RRA acquire these properties. They still have to decide to do so, right? And it's a lengthy process. Once they decide to do so, then it's not immediate. It takes a while.
Yeah, they have to go through eminent domain.
Geez. So is it just, declaring it blighted was step one, getting RRA to do something is step two, and then there's still a long process before it's actually in possession of our RA.
Yeah.
So,
And that's, I wanted to make sure there was no other detriments or that would prohibit the RA from taking those
yeah.
next steps, so.
It's more so just to let them know that whatever problems there may be, obviously they're where they inherit whatever problems, but it's just more emphasis on.
An interesting thing is, what does transfer is outstanding water bills. Right, and if, the water, it could be an empty house and there's no water being consumed, and somehow they rack up tens of thousands of dollars worth of water bills that do transfer to the new owner. And I don't understand how that happens or why it happens, but I just see it.
Yeah, actually, I have a similar problem across 8th Street here. The lady who owns the property
Those are the ones that had water turned off and still.
was admitted into a nursing home, and with the cold weather that we had, one of the pipes in the basement cracked, and she got an $800 water bill for last month, even though she's not living in the property.
Yeah.
So these type of things do happen. Any other questions on 142 Elm Street? Okay, do I hear a motion to recommend to the Reading Redevelopment Authority to reuse 142 Elm Street as a single-family dwelling?
Make the motion.
Okay, Peter, second?
Second.
Okay, Will?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Okay, we're in the final stretch. Okay, update on the zoning ordinance amendments for the CC district uses.
Yeah, so when I forwarded the information to the city clerk's office for schedule to city council, they did propose some other uses to add into the CC that weren't a consideration in the original draft, and they would like to do a workshop meeting for that and some of the other smaller all ordinance amendments, but combining discussion regarding the CC and some of the other smaller ones. So just look out on the email. I don't know if we want to use the same commissioners for the workshop that we did last time, if you guys kind of want to rotate and take turns on which ones you want to be on workshop, but we were trying to get something for tomorrow. I didn't receive any feedback from the city clerk's office, so I'm going to be reaching out tomorrow and schedule something no later than next week.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't be available tomorrow, but next week's not a problem.
Okay.
Nelson, would you like to join us again?
What time is that? What time is that?
It hasn't been scheduled yet, but it's going to be probably not this week anymore, but next week at some point.
Okay.
I can also, whenever we schedule it, I can send all of the commissioners an email, and then, Nelson, if you can't make it, if someone else can.
All right. Works for me.
It would be 3.
3? Oh, without published meeting.
Yeah, yeah, that'll work. I'll guarantee that I'm there, and then if somebody else can join us, that would be great.
That's all I have for that. It was just a quick update.
Next up, we have the Kumaru Township zoning ordinance amendment for data centers. It just turns out that on Nextdoor, the
Website.
Social app, yeah, website, somebody posted that they were going to have this meeting, and since we discussed data centers quickly and decided that we're going to wait for the Berks County Planning Commission to start giving us guidance. I just wanted to send this out to show that there are other places in Berks County that are thinking about this. I don't know if anyone has any comments, but the first thing I would say is that doing an overlay district here in the city for this wouldn't work for us.
No, my office is doing several for other municipalities. So it's a point where everyone is running to attempt to regulate data centers within their municipality. There's different variations of them, and everything going from smaller uses to larger uses, and then certain municipalities accept them, certain municipalities are not willing to invite them as easily.
What are the objections people are raising about data centers?
The first would be water supply and cooling, the amount of energy it takes, noise, lighting would be the first four, and then there's subordinate ones, appearance, not knowing what it's going to look like, the number of employees, if it's going to overpopulate a given area. So there's a number of issues that are out there, and some municipalities are handling it by buffering. Some are putting in regulations in for pre and post occupancy of the property for water consumption. Again, getting whoever's going to be providing the energy source to the property, that's another major concern, which we would have here as well. And groundwater and surface water being pulled in order for coolant.
I presume one condition for anything in the city would be a will serve letter. Anything in the from Rawa would be a will serve letter from the Rawa, I presume.
And I don't see this as being much different than some industrial operation that is a high energy user and has a cooling system of scale.
I think the biggest problem is that, we see stories of these, the data centers that popped up in like Tennessee, and I believe it was in Texas or somewhere down south, where they're for like the AI generative data centers, where they're using a lot of these external generators that cause a lot of noise, a lot of fumes, and then they also consume a lot of water to cool down these things. Again,
these are massive scale.
Yeah,
Absolutely
and I
massive
think,
scale things.
but I think that's kind of why these things are kind of coming up. There are, again, as Jerome mentioned, there are different types of data centers. And also, within the city of Reading, there's only going to be so many options for certain types, if any. It's just good to get something on the books. That way we have something that we can refer to apply regulations. Because regardless, if we don't have it on the books, they can still request whatever relief from, zoning hearing board or whatever they may have to do. And we're kind of piecemealing what they're going to need. That's the way I'm seeing it. I think more rural areas that have a lot more space, in the Lehigh Valley where they have all that warehouse space, I think that's going to be more of a problem for them. But that's also why I said to hold off, the Berks County Planning Commission, they are drafting up a guidance document for different municipalities. So then that way we can kind of see what would apply to the city of Reading and then create our ordinance in that way. It would just be basically another use that we would detail regulations for in the zoning ordinance.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, my thought was,
Go ahead, Will.
Thank you. I was surprised it was proposed by Kumru as an overlay district. I wouldn't have thought of that, but and it's along the lines of what Emily just said. The rural areas have more space. Kumru has that industrial area, unpopulated, in the Poplar Neck section between the meanders of the Schuylkill River, and they can accommodate something of a larger scale than we could ever possibly accommodate. So we would have to look at something, these not the AI type but the smaller scale, other kinds of data centers, as which was said, there are different kinds. But it would still bring to mind some of these concerns, which, normal zoning type concerns, planning concerns. And the one thing I didn't really see addressed, maybe it's more of a building and trades matter, was fire safety. That has been one of the concerns raised by people across America, as it's been a problem with an older type design. I understand a newer type design addresses that, mitigates that risk. So that would be something, I suppose, for building and trades, and maybe there'd be some language referring to it in any ordinance. But we'll have to see what Berks County Planning says. But yeah, we would not be seeing these large scale type, I doubt, type centers. But we should always be proactive, as we are, for this, the other type that we could accommodate. So yeah, I agree, Mr. Chair. I don't think the overlay would be suitable for Reading, but it was an interesting approach, and then all the details were very thoughtful, comprehensive in Kumru's proposed ordinance. So it was helpful to see that. Thank you.
The one thing that Emily mentioned was that in down south, especially, we might have a good enough grid up here to handle it, but there are sections of the United States where the grid can't handle the electric.
We're not going to have a data center of enough scale that causes the grid a problem in the city of Reading. It's just
but the what was it, 3 weeks ago? The stock of Caterpillar jumped 19% because of data centers buying up their
diesels,
their generators that use compressed natural gas, and using those instead of using the grid. So I think that might it would be an environmental concern then, but once again, it's not something that would probably hit here.
Caterpillar has been going around selling their gen sets to industrial users as standby power for decades. This is nothing new. It's an industrial use. That's what it amounts to. If a company came along and wanted to put, a steel making operation in the city of Reading, it would be a huge power consumer and have a huge cooling load or whatever, and we would welcome it, right, for the employment and the boost to the economy. Data center is the same thing. I mean, it just
There was an article in the Eagle, I think it was the Eagle with the Mercury. There was an article in the Eagle with the Mercury yesterday that actually had a sample ordinance as well that I just forwarded to Jerome, Simon, Jesse, and Emily, if they want to download and forward that around.
My main point is really I think a lot of people are making a whole lot out of this, more than it deserves.
Yeah, I think that, for example, what is that
The Penhurst
company that used to be United Corstex, DS?
Oh yeah,
DS Smith.
called Corstex.
There's actually a lot of unused land down there because there was supposed to be a development done about 10 years ago, that Cedar Pack or something like that never got off the ground. And that would be a perfect place.
Well, that's an example that United Corstex, that development, the power plant, the corrugate making operation there, that was deemed a desirable thing for the city of Reading. It's such a big power consumer, they built a power plant for it. And that power plant has cooling demands, that has cooling towers, and they're using water. Right? Yeah. Data center is just another industrial use, essentially.
Would be interesting that if somebody did use did try to use that empty area where the cedar pack plant was proposed. That was quite a bit of square footage if they would reactivate the old plant. So, but anyway.
Kumru is asking if this commission wants to make any comments. They are having the hearing on the date of your workshop. So if you have any desire to make any comments, this would be your sole opportunity.
Does anyone have anything to submit? If not, we can write an email and have the staff submit it to Kumru Township if anybody comes up with something.
If you did that, you would have to ratify your position at the next meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
Will this just require an email, or shall we be required to make an official communication through a letter?
Well, the email it should be an official letter either from the city or from myself to Kumru Township if you desire to take a position. Ideally, I'd like the position to be stated tonight for the record rather than retroactive. I know we haven't had a lot of time to review this. So this really would be your only ideal time to make any comments on this ordinance.
I didn't bring the printout with me, but from what I saw from the map, the placement was quite here it is. As Will said, it's down in that section where the Schuylkill River meanders, and it's right by Titus Station also, which also has a huge electric station there.
That's defunct. That's not.
That's offline.
That's offline. It's been
Oh,
offline.
okay, because I've been watching them work on that. Maybe they're dismantling it.
Could be. It's not coming back online.
No? Okay. What's that?
Or retrofitting.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
making it nuclear.
so, the only thing I would say is that the location seems to be appropriate for, but, that's up to commission if you would like to make a statement.
No, I would just say because it does border the city of Reading, the area they're proposing, that we appreciate that they asked for our comments.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, that we appreciate their we appreciate them asking us for comments, and we feel that it is an appropriate space for such a use.
Mhm.
And I think that would take care of it if everyone agrees.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Fine.
Yep.
Make a motion authorizing.
Very good. So do I hear a motion to authorize the staff to write a letter to Kumru Township that states our position that the chosen location for the overlay district is appropriate?
So move.
Okay, Nelson? Second?
Second.
Okay. Is that Will?
Yes.
James.
I don't think he's.
Authorize. Okay, question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Very good. Yeah, then that way we made our peace. And okay, next up, part 16, the parking and loading. Simon?
And loading ordinances. Sorry. The parking and loading ordinances came through the planning commission before. These were reviewed. Upon submission to the council, there was a section where they required us to review. And those up to this point have been reviewed through the team that was organized. And at this point, they are finalized. I think the final part of them, they have gone to the county, and we're waiting for them to come back before the planning commission makes a decision on them.
Okay, so there's a possibility we can vote on this next month, or do you think it'll take a while?
No, that's it. We're at the home stretch.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the areas that change, and the county said that they should not have any comments. They were at the meetings with us when these things were discussed. So just to refresh you, the draft that you have, which is dated March 16th, the areas in red were revisions that were made in February by the reduced group that we had, a focus group that we had on this. And then the ones in blue, highlights or strike throughs, were revisions that were made in March. So the draft, the most current draft is dated March 16th, 2026. That's what went out to everybody for one last look, including the Berks County Planning Commission.
Okay. Very good. Okay, next up, we get to discuss the annual report for 2025. Who would like to take this one?
The annual report for 2025 for the Planning Commission is also underway. It is being worked on by the Planning Office. A draft copy will be shared with the Planning Commission in the course of this month. The anticipation is that we are able to discuss the draft in the next month's workshop. And then following that, the Planning Commission will determine whether to make a recommendation or to review it again before making a recommendation to the council. So right now, I would say that the report is underway, and a draft will be shared with you once it is finalized.
All right, and the Chapter 94 report.
The same with the Planning Commission. Planning Commission annual report. One report kind of gives information to the next one, so they are concurrently being worked on together.
Okay. Very good. Don't believe so, but do we have any public comment?
Do we have any public?
So, excuse me.
Are they allowed to, public comments, do they have to be in person?
Not since we all, this is hybrid.
All right. Very good. Anything else for the good of the order? Okay. Our next workshop meeting is April 21st, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. Will the Schuylkill Greenway Association be there?
Yes.
Have we confirmed that? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's what I thought I saw.
Good.
Okay, great, because it'll be great to get an update. As we all know, Don sent out some information, and Don will then be able to, if he's available, he can meet face to face with everyone as we did last year.
Yeah, and a representative from the Schuylkill River Greenways, they will also be providing an update to the Reading Redevelopment Authority to discuss the transfer of land and things like that to make sure that these projects move forward.
Right, and then our next regular meeting is April 28th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Peter, second.
Please. Well, you can second it, right?
I will second that. Okay, question on the motion?
No question.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. This was a long one, but we did get quite a bit of stuff done. So that's always good to see because as we know with things not being very normal on many fronts, it's good to see that we're